Welcome to the Art of Manifesting with Gaya. Our topic this evening is the Earth Changes and Astrology, how to survive them. And we have a fabulous guest who's going to talk about it. Her name is Barbara Goldsmith. Barbara has been a professional astrologer for over 30 years. She has a loyal following on YouTube for her free monthly horoscope forecasts and her predictions for world events. She has run her own successful property and investment company in London, UK for several years, Stratford Properties. She hosted her own show on Canterbury Television, Money Talks. Based in New Zealand, she consults internationally with clients from all over the world. She is the author of Astrology Made Easy, a handy reference guide, The Elements,
Something new and better. And this is the Neptune.
Physical and Metaphysical Astrology, Handbook for Surviving the Global Financial Crisis. She is a qualified financial advisor, business consultant, and brings together a unique mix of astrology, finances, and business with her experience as a successful business owner. I have personally consulted Barbara,
Revolution! Let's change! But they don't know what the
and she has
true leaders coming out to take these countries.
always been spot on. So she is truly a fabulous astrologer, and it is a great privilege to have her today on our show. Welcome to the show, Barbara.
Thank you, Gaya. Thank you for that wonderful introduction.
Thank you, Barbara. So now, our listeners would always like to know a bit about yourself. So could we start at the beginning of the turning point, or when did you get into astrology?
I got into astrology at a very early age, actually. I was always interested in this whole area, whole fascination for the metaphysical field altogether. And when I was about 18 years old, I went and had a reading with somebody. And I was astonished how this woman knew so much about me just by knowing my date, time and place of birth. And she was actually spot on with her predictions over the years, and so it just sparked an interest. That was it. And then I went to night school, I studied, and even 30 odd years later I'm still a student of astrology because I'm always learning.
Oh, that's amazing. Now, Barbara, the before life and the afterlife, we like to call it, in what way has astrology made a difference in your life?
My life.
Yes.
I feel that it's enabled me to have a greater understanding of people. It's enabled me to understand the differences between us. The fact that we're all one, I feel, we're all deeply connected, and yet we're all unique, we're all different. And I think astrology enables you to see deeply inside a person. It can take you from the physical to the emotional to the mental to the spiritual levels. And it's such a wide subject. It's enabled me to look at finances, the economy, the world, globally. Astrology can look at countries. It can look at relationships. It's such a wide area, and that's why I feel it's always interesting and new. And each client, much as I may be sharing things with them, I always learn something new from each and every client. So it's wonderful. It's never ending.
And that's so true too. So the topic this evening is the Earth Changes and Astrology, how to survive them. And I think it's it's time appropriate because all around us there's catastrophe and natural disasters and quite a lot happening. So Barbara, tell us, how do we use astrology and what is astrology saying about these times?
Well, I've been talking for a while now about the cardinal climax. The energies of that really starting around 2008. In fact, when we saw that huge collapse of world financial markets in March of 2008. So this is really when the cardinal climax began, which is this configuration of Saturn opposite Uranus. So you've got Uranus, which is this force for change, for the new, for freedom, for breaking out of old structures. And that, of course, we are seeing now, particularly in the Middle East, all the Middle Eastern countries. We're seeing what's happening in Libya. We're seeing a great drive for freedom and for being free of these dictatorships that have been in place for many, many years. So this is the drive, and particularly young people are very driven by this Uranus energy. It's very often a youth movement or a move for greater freedom for people in general. Then we've got that, the other hand, Saturn on the other side of it. So opposite this wonderful drive for newness and freshness is Saturn, the serious authorities, the governments, the powers that be, who want to keep things as they are, who want to keep control of the people and what they can and cannot do. Saturn would rule our governments, our legislation, our tax systems, all these things that keep people in a structure, maybe structures that they don't like anymore. So this is what we've got opposite one another. And then squaring all of this, which in astrology a square is quite a challenging aspect and usually causes an actual physical change. And we've got Pluto at the very top. Pluto in Capricorn. Capricorn rules our Earth, the very Earth that we live on. It's an Earth sign. And Pluto is about destroying the structures that no longer work for us. So we've got these three planets really playing off one another, affecting us globally as far as Earth changes are concerned. So it's affecting us as far as disasters, earthquakes, tsunamis, all these terrible events that were wars, all these events that we're seeing springing up now in the world. And at the same time, we do have an opportunity with this cardinal climax to look at where it falls in our own charts, in our own lives on a personal level. So for example, it could be falling in your home area, your home, your family. You may find that you suddenly have to move. It may be affecting your career or your work or your health or your finances. And so this cardinal climax will certainly be triggering an area in your chart personally, as well as on the global level. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. And so, Barbara, how long is this cardinal climax going to last?
Okay, the energies are here with us at least until 2015, although my feeling is that it's going to go a lot longer than that. I think we're probably looking at least another 10 years, the energies and the vibrations of this, before we start to have a feeling of order again. There's a feeling now of chaos, and particularly now, on April the 5th, Neptune just sneaks into its own sign of Pisces. On April 5th until August of this year, and then in February of next year, where it stays for many years after, Neptune's in Pisces. And I think this too is very significant, because Neptune, whilst the higher octave, the plus of Neptune is it's about compassion, it's about caring for our fellow man. And we're sure seeing that in Christchurch, New Zealand now, where people are reaching out to one another to help one another. Seeing that in Japan, we see that very often. In chaos, people come to one another to help. So that's the good side of Neptune, if you like, which is this higher love. And there are people sending light and love around the world to those who are suffering. We can change the course of events if there are enough of us together mentally. We can change the course of these terrible events, but there need to be enough people coming together to change it. The other side of Neptune is that it rules flooding, it rules tsunamis, it rules radiation, it rules the things that are unseen, the things that could be dangerous to us that we cannot see necessarily, that are invisible. Neptune also rules, it's chaotic. Neptune is dreamy. Think of Pisces. Pisceans, they're off in their own dream world a lot of the time. So Neptune is very nebulous. You can't pin it down. And what I'm seeing, for example, in the Middle East, is that Uranus has come along and said, all these people have come out and want to change too. I'm not seeing a leader, true leaders coming out to take these countries into